A man in a racing jacket stands over his motorcycle in a garage. He looks arrogant and unchallenged. Cuts to a wild underground party. A DJ spins records while a crowd dances wildly. Elsewhere, a woman in a full racing suit and helmet sits on her own bike. Determined, she's preparing for one last race back at a pre-race meetup. The man in the racing jacket smirks as his friends hype him up. His rivals look intimidated. He claims the prize money without a challenger until the woman on the white bike rolls up. A friend warns her not to race him. He's too dangerous, but she stares ahead, unafraid. He looks her over, a smirk on his face. He accepts her challenge. The two bikes line up, engines revving. A friend tries to warn the man that his bike is broken, but it's too late. The race begins. They tear through the city streets at night. She stays perfectly behind him, waiting for her moment. He glances back, impressed by her skill. She suddenly overtakes him. His engine light flashes a warning. The bike starts to fail. He loses control, but just as he's about to fall, she pulls up alongside him. Reaching out and grabbing his hand, saving him from a crash, he stares at her through his helmet. Completely shocked, later, he's mesmerized. He asks his friend who she was. But no one knows. The woman sits alone at a bar, drinking wine. A flashback reveals her in a wedding dress, looking sad and defeated. She walks in on her fiancé kissing another woman. He shows no remorse, tossing a credit card at her. He then picks up his mistress and carries her away, leaving the bride to cry alone. Back at the bar, she drinks away her sorrow when the racer she saved walks in. He stops, recognizing her instantly. He walks over to her, a look of surprise and intrigue on his face. He leans in close, their eyes meeting across the bar. The racer leans in close, a confident smirk on his face. But the woman doesn't back down. She holds his gaze, her expression unreadable. He freezes, completely thrown off by her bold proposition. Across the bar, his friends stare in disbelief, their jaws on the floor. The woman leans closer, a playful challenge in her eyes. He stares back, his amusement turning into intensity. Suddenly, he scoops her up, sitting her on the bar as she wraps her arms around his neck. He lifts her into his arms without a word, carrying her away from the bar and up a dark staircase. He pins her against the wall, their lips crashing together in a passionate kiss. The scene dissolves into a golden, sun-drenched haze, their embrace becoming more intimate. Lost in the moment, in a dark room, the racer strips off his shirt, his muscular back turned to the woman. Her eyes widen slightly as she takes in his physique. He turns to face her, grabbing her hands and pulling her close, his gaze intense and questioning. She doesn't answer with words, but leans in, their lips meeting in a slow, passionate kiss, their silhouettes embrace behind the blinds. The next morning, she silently gathers her things. She tiptoes to the edge of the bed where he sleeps, a small, satisfied smile on her face as she looks at him. She turns to sneak away, but he suddenly sits up in bed, his eyes wide, calling out to her just as she's about to leave. She freezes in place, caught. She pulls a wad of cash from her purse, tossing it on the bed, her expression cold and dismissive. The racer stares at the money, his initial shock turning to anger. She storms out of the room, leaving him speechless. As she leaves, she notices a mark on her neck in the reflection. She quickly zips up her jacket to hide it. At home, her husband confronts her, grabbing her arm aggressively, his face contorted with suspicion. She shoves him away, her eyes blazing with defiance. He sneers at her, his voice dripping with condescension and disgust. He turns his back on her, dismissing her completely. She looks at him with a mix of hurt and anger. A flashback shows the two of them as happy high school students. A younger girl watches them with jealousy. The husband returns from abroad, giving the other girl a necklace for her birthday, while the woman watches from the sidelines, ignored. He hugs the other girl tightly, promising to marry her one day. The woman's smile falters as she watches them embrace, her heartbreak evident in her eyes. 6 years ago, the woman walks with another man, a simple, kind-looking guy. He thanks her for helping his mother, and they share a warm hug. The husband and the other woman watch them from across a river, her face twisted with jealousy. She poisons the husband's mind with lies, telling him the woman is only with him for his money. His expression darkens, his eyes filling with rage. Later, the woman walks into her husband's bedroom. She finds him in bed with the other woman, kissing her passionately. The woman freezes in the doorway, her hand flying to her mouth in shock and horror. She stares at them, her heart shattering into a million pieces. Completely betrayed, at a lavish party, men in suits discuss the racer. Recognizing him as the son of the city's wealthiest man, the racer sits on a couch with a friend, looking bored and annoyed. He vents his frustration about the mysterious woman, confused by her hot and cold behavior. His friend has no answers for him. Just then, the woman walks down a grand staircase. On the arm of her husband, the racer's friend spots her first, pointing her out. The other woman approaches them, a fake smile plastered on her face. The woman stands by her husband's side, her face a mask of cold indifference. The racer stares at her, his mind reeling, completely blindsided by the revelation that she is married. The other woman glares at the wife, her eyes full of venom. The husband steps in, defending the other woman and scolding his wife. The wife clenches her jaw, her eyes flashing with defiance. She throws her champagne on the other woman, a smirk playing on her lips. The other woman cries out in shock, The husband is furious, but the wife stands her ground, a silent challenge in her eyes. He sends the other woman away, his face a mask of cold fury. The other woman glares at the wife one last time, a silent promise of revenge in her eyes. She walks away, leaving the wife to face her husband's wrath. Alone, the wife turns her back on her husband, her face a mask of cold fury. She walks away, leaving him standing alone in disbelief. Meanwhile, the other woman corners a man in a tan suit, a sinister smile on her face. The racer gets up from the couch, determined to find the wife and get some answers. The wife enters a bathroom, but the man in the tan suit follows her in. He corners her in the shower, a lecherous grin on his face. She shrinks back in fear. He advances on her. His intention's clear. Suddenly, the racer bursts into the bathroom, wielding a retractable baton. The man in the tan suit freezes, caught in the act. The wife interrogates the man in the tan suit, her eyes blazing with fury. He confesses that the other woman paid him to set her up. The racer listens intently, his expression hardening as he learns the truth. The wife reveals that the other woman is her husband's mistress. The man admits he was paid $500,000. The wife calmly pulls out her phone, transfers the money to him and tells him to get lost. The man stares at her in disbelief, then scrambles out of the bathroom. The wife thanks the racer, but tells him to leave. He refuses, his eyes locking with hers. He tells her he can give her everything her husband can't. She challenges him, asking if he can give her a child. He stares at her for a long moment, then leans in, their lips meeting in a slow, passionate kiss, sealing their unspoken agreement. One die.